Hello. Today is a beautiful day, and I am looking forward to being with you today. Kind of tried to change this up a little bit so that I can do something a little different. Today, as you can see, I've already got a picture started, and I want to tell a story about Annabelle and Granny B and the Hagstone. It'll come as it comes, and I won't be able to tell it the same way twice. But I wanted to enjoy this time with you. So, we're going to get started, and we're going to go. And I want you to know that your granny loves you. Like Granny and Annabelle, they did things together. And even if they weren't together, they knew in their hearts they were connected. Connected by love, connected by family, connected at the very soul of their beings. Granny loved Annabelle. Annabelle loves Granny. And this is about them. Maybe. Okay, so let us begin. Now, Annabelle and Granny lived on the same property out in the country, in a little place, a little town. And they lived out north of town, and there was a lake. And back in the 1800s, Granny's family had bought this lake and bought all the land around it. And there was a stream coming down through the farmyard and through the farm property and running down into the lake. And then there was streams coming in from other places, and they had artesian wells that would spring up every so often. But then there was a stream that ran down to the river. But this beautiful lake, not really much bigger than a big pond, but it was swimming, and it had fish and swimming places. And they had a little boat on it. They had a rowboat that they could go out and fish from. But it was a beautiful, calm place. But this day, Granny, being old-fashioned and being a granny, was going to take Annabelle, and they were going to follow the stream away from the lake, up through the property, because they were looking for different new plants. Annabelle was learning about the dandelions and the violets and little prunella and all these wonderful, wonderful plants. Well, of course, prunella's not out until June, and the dandelions and violets are out now. Colt's foot. And Granny was going to take her out, and they were going to draw. They were going to gather. They were going to gather some of these for tinctures and dry some of it for later. And they had to cross the first big stream with all these nice, beautiful little rocks in it. And this is where they came across this beautiful, beautiful stone. And here's those words again, beautiful, beautiful. I like the word beautiful, beautiful for some reason. But as they were walking, Annabelle looked down into the stream and realized that she saw a heart-shaped stone. And with this heart-shaped stone, there was a hole in the middle of it. And Granny told her it was a hagstone. I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe if I move this way a little bit better. Oh, my shadow's in the way. Let's see if I move over here. Is that better? Nope, not much. We'll get it right. Like I said in one of the first ones I did, yeah, just keep trying until you get it right. There, now that looks pretty good. Now, this hagstone had probably laid there for hundreds of years. Maybe thousands, who knows? In order to get this kind of hole in it. Nice, clean hole all the way through. Now, Annabelle picked it up and was looking through it and just kind of goofing around. And Granny says, "What do you see through that hagstone?" Granny, 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 Granny. Grannies can be kind of funny at times. People don't understand because they think that Granny's just Granny. That she really is just talking. But not Annabelle's Granny. Annabelle's Granny really wanted to know what Annabelle saw. Whether she saw anything. Annabelle looked through it. She said, "I see the trees. See you. I see. Oh, there's a butterfly and a dragonfly." Granny looked at her and said, "That's all you see?" And Annabelle says, "Yeah, pretty much." Granny looked at her again and says, "Annabelle, I know better. I know you can see things a lot of people can't see." And Annabelle thought, "Why should I be able to see things that other people can't see?" Well, Annabelle was always open. She always made sure she was open. She was still a young lady. She was still a girl. But she wasn't little anymore. And there were times that she and Granny would talk about being able to see and feel things that were going on. Now, Granny called that being an empath. Being empathic, being able to sense what other people feel. Sometimes Annabelle didn't like that. She didn't like feeling like she could sense what somebody else was thinking. Sometimes it felt like it was an intrusion. Sometimes she felt like she could feel their pain. She could feel people's pain. She could hurt. She hurt when they hurt. And that bothered her. But, as Granny would tell her, that was part of who Annabelle is. She was different, in a sense. Not that we can't all do it, but that she was more aware of it. But this day, Granny wanted to know what she saw through the hagstone hole. Now, Annabelle was looking through the hole and saying, "Well, let's see, there's a tree, there's some flowers, there's a bush, oh, there's a bumblebee, there's a butterfly." Granny said, "Okay, those are the things you see. What else do you see? Do you truly, really see?" Annabelle was getting a little tired of this. But then she stood there and looked. She started to see some sparkles. Some little tiny splecks here and there that kind of flittered around. Flew around and around and around, going from one spot to another, showing, just kind of floating around there, being bright and shiny, and amazingly, she began to realize that what she was seeing were the fairies. The fairies were there. Not the little hats and cute little things that look like human beings, but actual looking, living beings that looked for all the world like beams and dots of light. Now those dots of light were different colors. There were violet ones, and they were around the wild violets. There were yellow ones that flew in and out of the dandelions. There were purple ones, and there were white ones. Now Annabelle was a bit surprised to see that she was actually seeing something else. And she looked at Granny and she said, "Well, I see something here. I'm not sure, but I think that it is berries." Granny just smiled because she knew what she was seeing. She couldn't see it the way Annabelle did, but she could see what Annabelle felt. And it was in these little tiny specks all over this place, in this world, that she was seeing these things. And Annabelle was amazed. See, I'm looking for a violet. I don't have a violet. I do have yellow. And they were everywhere. And Granny looked at her, and Annabelle was almost in tears. She said, "I never realized." And Granny looked at her and said, "You know, people think that the beyond," let's put some blue in there for bluebells, the beyond is something separate from where we are. The only thing that's separate from where we are is the reality that we see. We create our reality. Now, when Annabelle looked through this beautiful hole, and it changed her vision of what the world was. It was no longer the world that I could look out here and see the shed. It was this beautiful, beautiful world. It's still the shed. It's still this pine tree and the trees in the background. But now, something happened in Annabelle's heart and her mind, and the fairies and the beings that are beyond what we see, what we're taught to see, were still there. They're still out there, dancing among the little wildflowers. Now, with this stream running back here, and the stone glistening over the tops of the rocks in the river stream, Annabelle was in love with the world that's created, that Creator made. And then she realized that there was this beautiful, bright blue dragonfly, more like a damselfly, but he was bright blue. And he had been flying around here all the time that she was looking through the hag stuff. Now, some people will tell you that dragonflies move in the world between worlds. Oh, there's a violet. We'll put a violet in here just quick. He moves in the world between worlds. He is in the water. He grows up in the water. They grow up. Some will say that he was tricked. It was a dragon that was tricked into believing that he could change into anything. Well, when he changed into the dragonfly, he couldn't change back. So it is a true dragon. Trapped in the form of a fly. But this one, this blue one that we know, that we're talking about, had grown right there in their little lake and was with Annabelle, a guide, a helper, showing her the fairy world, the place between. And she was in love with it. And it became her guide. And that is our story for today. Join me again soon. Smile and sparkle your eyes.